right, ladies and gentlemen, showing off brand new master deck. Use this for 2 seasons in a row to hit the master ranks. This deck is absolutely insane. I'm really happy to show it off. Starting off with a clip, we're facing a ninjas player. This is all moments from the climb to master, from any of the ranks, from diamond and platinum or up. Starting off with a ninja player in the diamond rank. Right now, a decent board for him, all things considering. Ninja has a lot of interruptions, so that's really what I gotta deal with, is I gotta make sure I can deal with all of this interruption. The trap card here is gonna make his plays even more diverse, getting out the Iroh. Honestly, in my opinion, I think he pulled the Iroh or gyro a little bit early, because flipping those guys face down can also be used in interruptions in that deck. I did show that video deck off at one point, but we're gonna start off with some Horus lines, you know, to get some interaction off the Horus board. And I decide to go right to battle here to try to break down my opponent. He's gonna get 2 Bari as well as 2 other monster cards. We're going to use the King Sarcophagus to break that one, and he's going to be left with 2 monsters. Now I'm going to start going into the Centurion plays, and it looks like he has some fusion plays left within his combos. Getting out the Armor Ninja, which is a removal, I'm pretty sure, so he'll be able to take out a piece of my board. And the card he chooses is the Draw one. Now that is not good for him, because I'm going to be able to recycle a lot of stuff, as well as also remove something from his field. We choose to remove the ninja, and we're going to put that Wake Up Centurion and go for these combos now. Getting Trudia onto the back row, turning it into a monster. I should have converted it, but I think I'm saving it as my my pieces for the next turn. Centurion Bonds, we're going to get Primera in the back row as well, and finish it off with Trudia. Now, Primera is really good to have extra in the back row. Reason being is it protects your Centurion cards from being destroyed by card effects. There we go, and that is the first clip of today's video. Alright, my opponent's going first. He is on Labyrinth now, or not Labyrinth, Yubel. Yubel is one of the strongest current decks in the format, so we have a meta build ahead of us. Getting that Dark Beckoning Beast to get the opening, as well as get that extra normal summon. He's going to go into Mudcracker from the Underworld. Now this is where he's also going to reveal the field spell. The field spell is absolutely crazy with Nightmare Throne. Being able to search whatever he seeks. But luckily for us, we didn't have to worry about that. He's going to use that Dark Beckoning Beast to get out a Spirit of Yubel. That is going to be the first point of interaction I choose to do, other than the Ash on the Nightmare Throne. I can't let him get that field spell, because I need to be able to do damage during my combos. He gets the Yubel Phantom, which will deny my monster effects, which is not... excuse me, not good. So I do take that out. I'm going to use Primera as my special with Oath to get out the stand-up Centurion. Now, also little tip, I was not playing like this in the very beginning. I learned this later into the climb. Searching for the field spell with Oath does not lock you into Centurion extra deck monsters like the monster effect does. So if you don't have the field spell and you have Oath, I recommend using it to get the field spell and discarding something. It does work both ways, but little tip, I think, is stronger in certain instances. We're going to use Ox and get Gargoyle as well. Going to set one, and we're going to go to damage, hit him for 3,000, and hit him for 2,000. Leaving him with 1 monster on field. Now we have 2 pieces of interaction, plus Primera and Gargoyle to get another piece of interaction. Could be a negate, could be a board wipe. My opponent has the opening, so he's going to discard a card to use that opening search to get himself out the Dark Beckoning Beast. Now I'm instantly going to synchro as soon as I can. I want to get out interaction. He does have the maxi, but that doesn't necessarily matter to me as long as he doesn't have anything crazy to deal with what I'm doing. Now Primera plus our Gargoyle is going to get us out Crimson Dragon. Also, huge amount of cards added to hand, Gargoyle and the Synchro Rumble from deck. At one point I did take out the Synchro Rumble, but later on I decided to add it back. I feel like it's stronger. I do recommend that in the build because it gives you a lot of interesting moves. I choose to add Red Supernova as our monster of choice. He's going to destroy his Squirmer. We're going to get Gargoyle and that Synchro Rumble into the rotation. Now, the funny part is Yubel has to attack, and Red Supernova can negate attacks or card effects with its banish effect. That's how it's triggered. So he gets a Spirit of Yubel here, but at what cost? You lost your whole entire board. I have lethal on board now, and you don't got much left. You're going to go into a Phantom of Yubel and try to use that. Phalanx has really good interaction with Phantom because it banishes it. Normally, Phalanx would bring it back, but since it can only be summoned a certain way, it can't be brought back. We get that lethal damage and we finish it off there. Alright, interesting hand, starting off with no engine other than Horus, but there's ways to use Horus to get into Centurion and vice versa. We do draw that field spell. We're going to get rid of the bonds to get the Trudia. Now, Trudia is full combo if it resolves nicely, in which in this instance it does. We're going to use Trudia to get Wake Up Centurion and get the level 8. Honestly, that was a misplay. I should have 100% got Gargoyle there with bonds already being engraved. Gargoyle would have been recycled and it would have given me King Sarcophagus discard target. Now Bonds is still going to recycle that Primera, but honestly in this situation it doesn't matter as much as the Gargoyle would have. We get our 2 trap cards, we set King Sarcophagus, we pitch the Phalanx to get the Happy. I would have kept that Phalanx if I did this right. Also, playing the Centurion Ox in the bigger zone does help out nicely. Now, we're playing through Nibiru here. Luckily for us, that trap card is still in play, so we can banish the trap card to get back our Ox. Now, trap card's a little funky. There's a chance you could resolve it during your opponent's turn, but I like to do it during my turn because I can guarantee resolve that. Now, I'm going to attempt to use an Imperm on the Voiceless monster. That card is absolutely dangerous. I need to out it as soon as possible. Now I'm going to use Trudia and Primera to get out a level 12 Synchro as soon as I can as well. I don't want to let him do his crazy shenanigans with no interaction coming from me. Now this Radiance is going to be able to let him shuffle and then special summon a light. He gets the level 7 that gets him very easy summons, and stand up is gonna get us our Crimson Dragon into rotation here. Now Crimson Dragon is going to resolve as soon as possible. I'm gonna get the search and the Crimson Dragon effect. So before he gets his monster on board, I will have mine. This card is an absolute dangerous card. Skull Guardian really is crazy dangerous, man. Playing against this deck in this ladder climb, man, that card is absolutely disgusting. A negate every single turn, as well as if you have more than one on field, it's multiple negates. He's going to get in the Pentaglyph Dragon. It's a good spell and trap negate for the deck. He's also going to search for the Severa to get himself out another Skull Guardian to his hand. Going to use the Severa to also Ritual Summon it at the same time, using the Pentaglyph Dragon as the resources. So now we have 2 Skull Guardians on the field, and I'm going to Ash. I'm going to try to bait out a negate here. It doesn't work. He just decides, hey, I don't need an extra card. I have 2 really nice boss monsters on the board. Cosmic Blazar is on the board. Now he left the Nibiru token on board so he could have low on the field, because his only out for the token is Relinquish Anima. So he had to leave low on the field, else my dragon would have been able to stop the Skull Guardians. He's going to use Relinquish and Nibiru to go into an SP Little Knight to add to his arsenal of interaction, and he's going to banish King Sark. Now, I already have a Nesty in hand, so I'm not really scared, but man, we got a really big board ahead of us with 1 negate guaranteed. Imperm will be able to take out something at one point. Our opponent's going to try to use its negate right away, and that's fine with me. I want no monsters on field for Cosmic Blade or Gamma. And he falls for the bait. Gamma instantly gets to get activated here. He's going to use the trap to summon something, but honestly, I baited out a huge amount of interaction for that move. He gets his low. I get my Side-Frame Gammas on field. I think we're in a pretty decent spot, all things considered. Anesti is also going to get us King Sark, so we have access to the Sarcophagus engine once again. He's going to get another piece of Spell and Trap for his low, but we're going to go into Excel, and Excel's really going to bait some more interaction here, because he lets us go into a Baron. We can out-negate him. So there is the other negate. Excel is now gone. We're going to use the second stand-up Centurion in hand, using that Gamma, and get Trudia. Our opponent doesn't have any negates to him right now, but with Synchro Rumble, I'll be able to special summon 2 of Primera. Pretty cool ways if you chain your Primeras right, if you have the normal summon and a way to get it summoned from specialing. As long as you use the special, the search effect on the second one instead of the first, you're in a huge amount of setup advantage. Now we're going to use Legacia here and not give our opponent to negate it. Now Legacia doesn't target, so he gets to pop one of these Skull Guardians. Now Skull Guardian's also in the grave now. I'm going to Called by the Skull Guardian to get rid of any other Skull Guardian interaction. That means that attack points is reduced, and honestly 4100 attack points is no joke. I can get to 4000 pretty simply, but once you get to that point with 4000 over that, that's going to be hard to deal with. Now, interesting thing enough, he negated the summon of Anesti. I had the second Anesti, so it didn't matter. We could still bring out Anesti. Now we use Crimson Guardian here, Crimson Dragon here to go into a powerhouse in Red Supernova Dragon. Our opponent sees the dragon and surrenders. But honestly, that was a battle showing off the Horus, every engine we possibly could, as well as the very selective amount of hand traps we are playing. All right, this, ladies and gentlemen, is our rank up game into the master rank, using the emblem of Oath to get the stand-up Centurion, as well as get Primera into rotations. Now we get the bonds here as a backup plan if our opponent has any interaction. Now we have to Ash this Maxi. If he has Gamma, that is his game. Honestly, Gamma was a huge part of the format for some reason now. I played it because I'm playing a Synchro deck, but man, decks throwing around Gamma all around. We're going to use that to get out Centurion Ox. We're going to search for a card as well as get Gargoyle back to hand. I still think right now we're in still a really strong spot. We're going to grab that trap interaction. We're going to get Primera, and we're going to use that to recycle into a second Trudia, kind of leaving us with a backup plan on board. Maxi does resolve, and we do have a 12 interaction here. Now our opponent's going into the fusion of Tearlaments. Honestly, depending how this goes, I have a decent matchup. I'm not favored. Tearlament is no joke. So far so good. No crazy mills in the first thing. Mills do matter significantly with Tearlament. I do have to be a little bit careful. Gonna use Centurion, Trudia, and Primera to get out Crimson Dragon. Now the cool thing about Crimson Dragon, I'm gonna get that rumble to hand, as well as instantly trigger to get the 12 of choice. Now I feel like it's Cosmic Blazar here, just to have another negate on board. Now my opponent is going to reveal a Guido, and he's going to reveal this. Now I used the Phalanx to get rid of the Tearlament Fusion because Starfrost has to destroy something to resolve. There it is, Foolish Burial. He realizes I have one more negate, and that is going to solve this game. Ladies and gentlemen, that is how we got to Master Rank. Now I'll show you guys the deck list. Alright, getting the matchup we have today is Yubel on this game. Another Yubel matchup, pretty generic combos to start off with. Using Dark Summoning Beast to get into a small Unchained package to search for Unchained Shavara. And this is, I feel like, the perfect time to use Gamma, because if you let this resolve right, your opponent will end on the Unchained monster that can Synchro Summon during your turn, and that is not good for us. If he is able to Synchro Summon or Link Summon during our turn, he gets an SP that can also banish. So there's no very good interaction playing through that, so nothing we can do with that. This hand is pretty good. We're going to use Trudia as a discard. I feel like King Sark is a pretty good OTK engine. So honestly, I'm letting King Sark do its job. And we're going to use that to pivot into the stand-up Centurion we already had in hand. Now we're going to use Primera here to get Gargoyle. Gargoyle effect to send Trudia. Gargoyle is really cool with Horus because it recycles itself back into your hand. So it's very good discard fodder for the second time going around, and you can also doing it during your opponent's turn to kind of chain block Legacia, so it really does help. So does Centurion Bond if it comes up. We're gonna pitch our Gargoyle to get happy, and honestly interaction isn't a good matchup right now. This is turn 2. We're gonna get a huge amount of power on board and try to end this game here. Attacking with the 3600 one first because, hey, they have to show off the imperm if they have it. And with that situation, it didn't matter. But it can happen where Yubel players have the monster in hand to negate the first attack. Alright, getting started with a Primera in hand, getting that stand-up Centurion, a very good opening, especially if our opponent has no interaction. Gonna pitch the Wake Up. Using Trudia to get our pieces into rotation as well as getting bonds. I feel like it's the better move in this situation. Gonna use it to get Gargoyle. Now we have access to our first 12 of the day. It's gonna be Ox. Ox is usually always the first 12 on turn 1, especially because drawing one and adding a card to hand are very two different effects. We're also gonna recycle that Gargoyle into hand. Honestly, we're relying on our hand traps as well as getting interactive level 12 on our opponent's turn. So with that, we're going to set 3 using the Imperm called by and the Phalanx's interaction here. Instantly also going to start summoning on my opponent's turn in main phase 1. I believe he showed me that he was going for end of main, meaning that's going to be going into the battle phase. He's trying to evenly match. Now I want to save my interaction for the most, but I can do that at the cost of my 12 for this turn. We're going to use Crimson Dragon to get out Cosmic Blazar Dragon. And this card is so fun to use in this deck. I absolutely love it. Getting us a Synchro Rumble as well as baiting out that evenly. It outs it. Now if he has 2, we're out of luck. But it can stop 1. Alright, opponent reveals he is on Labyrinth. I have the called by for the Butler, so I'm not feeling too bad just yet. That was a good piece of interaction to take out of my opponent's arsenal. My opponent also has this card. We have Valor in hand. That will stop the Labyrinth search for a trap. Our opponent sets one, has the coup clock in hand. Man, our opponent also had a really stacked hand too. Gonna get out the lovely Labyrinth here and return the other one to hand. Now he's gonna try to pop a card. I do have the Impermanence. This was a complete chess match with, not a chess match necessarily, counter for counter. This time he's gonna reveal Typhon. Now this is a huge funny interaction to watch. He uses Typhon effect. I use Phalanx to pitch my Centurion. Alright, going first, no Centurion cards in the starting hand, but we do get a King Sark and we top deck a Primera. That's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie to you. Primera starting off, getting the stand-up Centurion, pitching for Wake Up, getting the Trudea. Now we're going for the Trudea here, adds a piece of interaction for our opponent because it leaves us open to Valor, especially because Trudea wasn't necessary. We could have went straight for Gargoyle, but it's the stronger play. Now our opponent pitches our Nesty, that's fine. I'm gonna instantly Synchro. I feel like this was a safe play. I was kind of scared of what my opponent was gonna do. Also could have been a misplay in certain ways. We're gonna get Legacia. I don't want to leave my opponent with a monster on field, and I honestly don't care what I draw. Honestly, drawing that was really good because that gives us access to our two other Horus monsters as well as our Nesty. We're also going to banish for Wake Up to get a Primera Engrave just in case he does search for a Bestial to take out our Primera search. Now Crossout was activated here and I accidentally clicked that Max C. Huge misclick, but with the board I have on field I'm actually pretty confident because I know that Fallen Valbaz was going to be his normal summon and that was going to be used to take out Legacia. Now Albion is here, but you also just triggered all three of my gang's attacks. That's why I love the Horus cards. They act in unison. You out one of our cards, we're going for the whole arsenal. I'm going to be able to draw a huge amount of cards just off the summoning of the water guy. The wind guy is going to get me Max C back. And a Nesty is going to take out Albion because I can. Now, taking out Albion stops him from Bestial Lubellion plays, which isn't a bad thing at all. Drawing a huge amount of interaction. Ash, Maxi. Next up, my opponent is fusing into the Mirror Jade. Gonna reveal a few other things here as well. But since we used our effects here, we're gonna try to trigger the Primera effect to Synchro. Now, thinking about this, he's going to use that Mirror Jade to take out the Synchro option, but that's fine. This is still a very hard wall to out with a monster, only has 3000 attack, and they can't be beat over by non-targetable destruction or by battle, so we're still in a huge spot. We're going to let him get the Spriggan's Kit and get the Branded Fusion to hand. Getting rid of that Eluber, we're going to make him use the Branded Fusion. We have the Ash in hand, and that is going to solve this game completely, making my opponent instantly surrender. A very nice combo line, nonetheless, wasn't enough. Alright, so this is the final deck list I did come up with. A few things are interchangeable. If you want more consistency, there is so many things you can do with this deck. You can run more King Sark if you want to see your Horus cards. Only problem with running more King Sark is a lot of these cards you don't want to discard. So that was my reasoning for running it at 2 and having a Nesty as my kind of way to get to it more. If you want to see your Centurion engine more, you can run Bonfire. That's right. If you look closely at Centurion Trudea, it is a fire type. Only reason I'm not running Bonfire is because I like to have certain cards. The cards I would interchange for Bonfire are Crossout and Valor, as well as Rumble. Those are the three only cards I think you can interchange. I really think Trudea being at 3 is because it's one of the best normals, is the reason why this deck works so well. Opening up Trudea Primera in your opening hand with some kind of protection from interaction is insane. I really like Gamma. Gamma is the reason why we're running Excel, and honestly, this card can be accessed through Gargoyle or Trudea, but Excel is the reason why Gamma is so good. If you resolve a Gamma during your turn, you're also guaranteed a Baron. You could also use it to somehow target a 10 and get yourselves a Bestial Dispatter. For extra deck, we're running a pretty simple 2 8s, 2 10s. The rest are 12s, except for we have a small Xyz package in Zombie Vampire and Typhon. Zombie Vampire does come in clutch when you open up only Horus and you have no way to access your Centurion lines. You do rely on a little bit of luck, but milling 4 is that's a 10% chance to see some kind, or I don't know the exact odds, honestly. That's 10% of your deck, but a lot of your deck is Centurion cards. You just need to see 6 out of that 40 to really get going there. But Typhon comes in clutch with a lot of really long grinding games and SP. In that instance, you had to use Zombie Vampire and you don't want to keep your Horuses around. You have just enough to get an SP out of it. Quick interaction things I noticed. Cosmic Blazar completely counters Typhon. Even though Typhon says when this is Xyz summon, neither player can activate the effects of monsters with 3,000 or more attack, Cosmic Blazar can in fact negate it because it's a negate on summon. Now, if you guys have any questions about this deck, I've learned so much about it through the last 2 seasons of using this as my rank up deck. But also, one more thing, Oath, if you set directly from Spell and Trap, you don't get this locked into Centurion extra deck effect. That is the last tip I'll need to show you, because how many times I thought I had to grab one of the monsters instead of the Spell and Trap because I forgot it searched the field spell is insane to me. Now, I hope you guys have been enjoying the streaming content. Hopefully we can get more active with the YouTube content as well. I'm trying my best. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy the rest of the week. I hope you had a good Labor Day.